We're getting deep in it now. I can almost taste it. All this talking, and we still haven't touched on the sex thing.
Yeah, let's get into it.
That's what you're thinking. Aren't all psychiatrists supposed to be obsessed with sex? It's not us. It's you. You're obsessed with not having sex.
Does that mean I'm a Volcel?
Let's have some fun. See the pictures on the table? I want you to divide them up. The ones you think are a sexual symbol go on the left. The ones that aren't, the right.
All right, time to get into the real hot stuff. Talking about the sex. Dr. K can taste it. All right, well, I don't want to taste anything that he's talking about here. We have to take these pictures. Is this sexual or non-sexual? I'm gonna say no. This is like a grasshopper. You know, some people might find that erotic. This is, it's sort of like an angry face, maybe? Uh-huh. Doc, you're not giving me a whole lot to work with here. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like a ball, maybe with some bug wings at the top of it. Alright, well this one's kind of hot. That's just like a skull. And, I mean, what is more erotic than death? And could be a moth, or could be like a car that got into a car crash. I'll put that. Doc, I don't know, Doc. I don't know what you were expecting here from me.
Done?
I guess.
Good. Of course, the constant partner of sex, the other side of the same coin, is death.
Are they all skulls, by the way?
Sex is death. It's a leap into the void, the great loss of self, the tiger in space, a plea for annihilation. To deny sex is to deny death itself. You know, people who are getting enough don't need analysis. You clearly are not getting enough. Let's see this through to the end.
All right, that's his professional diagnosis of me. I'm not fucking enough. Thanks, Doc. So I wonder, were all of the images skulls on the other side? So, like, no matter which one I put on the sexual side, he could pick it up and flip it over to show it's a skull? Siren, local singer-songwriter. One night only. Also, I get the feeling that maybe the doc's getting a bit tipsy. Maybe he's had a few too many during this therapy session. You know what? We gotta talk about sex now. We haven't even gotten to it yet. You know, if you're fucking enough, you don't need analysis. That's what I say. Well, he is the professional, and I am not. Alright, so where are we? Last time we came out of Annie's bar, where we spoke with Michelle, who had broken up with John, or rather, John broke up with her. And here we are at the amusement park. We remember the amusement park from the first game. No fishing. So why are we going to the amusement park? Well, we did get our location of where we need to be. And it's there, Lighthouse Cove. So here we are. We have to get across to Luca Lake. but it's like directly across on the other side from us. We need some water travel. The dragon. Yeah, look at him. Isn't he adorable? Cupid's bow. What rides do they have here?
Kids love the magic show.
Kids love them. Can we see the full number? 555325. I mean, the hand's covering the last number. Oh, there we go. It's on the side. I mean, we can see it's not open right now. When will they be open next?
Lakeside Amusement Park welcomes you to a world of freedom and excitement. Step off the street and into a fantasy playground where everyone is born again as a child. No family vacation is complete without a trip to the fantasy kingdom on the lakefront.
Well, they make it sound so good. Unfortunately, sorry, they are closed. But not to Harry Mason. He will not let a little thing like this get in his way. Sorry, Tom. We're gonna have to take your key. Tom shouldn't have left that window open. Lakeside Amusement Park.
They got it covered.
First aid procedures. Call 911 immediately when any of these things happen. I mean, they may be pretty good at that kind of thing, but one thing they cannot do is help us find our missing daughter, who may be a child or possibly an adult. Lost children? Yeah, actually. Maybe they can help.
Lakeside Amusement Park is closed at present. We are committed to creating a safe and responsible environment for your family to enjoy and have taken several steps to help protect visitors young and old. Our visitor information kiosk can provide smart tags to attach to children's clothing, allowing their whereabouts to be monitored whilst they're in the park. We have also produced a leaflet outlining all safety factors on our rides and have recently instituted a health first policy in our restaurants to ensure the food served in the park is healthy and allergen-free.
Man, why didn't we think of putting a tag on Cheryl so we could have just tracked her down? It would have made this so much easier. The ultimate and romantic swan ride, age 16 and over. But before we go on that, there's something over here that may seem familiar. We saw this at the beginning of the game, in which we were informed that someone loves her daddy. Behind it, well, we see a couple people. Well, we're full. I've taken all the pictures I can.
Milady, I hope you are unharmed from your brush with death.
Dad.
Oh, that ferocious dragon. You were almost consumed. Such a hideous beast.
Dad, it's just a painting. It's not real. Stop being silly.
You embarrassing your daughter again?
Well, it hasn't really been much of a mystery, but basically confirming that, yes, our family were indeed the day trippers that we've been following and getting messages from throughout the game.
Cinderella's all snowed in.
A family of 2 parents, 1 daughter. the father seeming more easygoing and friendly, and the mother seeming more strict. At least that's the impression we've been getting. Well, this is Cupid's bow. The ride of your life. Unfortunately, not the ride of my life, because I can't get on that. But, hey, the arcade's available. Try your luck. One-armed bandits. Pay to win. Well, yes, they're slot machines. You do literally have to pay to have a chance of winning, or to play at all. But fortunately, this one seems to be on free play. There we go. We did it. We got a collectible. We got Eve. It says true happiness. And this picture, this woman, we saw this picture in Cheryl's room in the nightmare. Frozen yogurts. I'm sure Harry could go for one, but no, it's too frozen for frozen yogurt. But we first kissed in the Tunnel of Love, so why don't we get in there and start kissing? Wait, Harry's not allowed to kiss in there? Maybe there's some lonely Rorschachs in there.
I remember that first night.
It was fun. Good date.
It was easy to be happy back then.
How about a kiss? For old time's sake?
For old time's sake.
Please remain inside your carriage. This ride has been temporarily halted due to a guest in the tunnel.
That ruined it.
Since when did a little privacy ruin a kiss?
Alright, our couple are making out in the Tunnel of Love. I saw a little ghost running away up here. I've been following this little ghost throughout the game.
I'm sorry. I ruined your ride. I'm sorry if I ruined everything.
It's not ruined. We're just glad you're safe.
Those swans pack a mean peck.
They do?
Yeah, like this.
It looks like Cheryl snuck inside the Tunnel of Love. And she wasn't supposed to be in there. They had to stop the ride because she did that. You have to be 16 to get into this ride. Alright, and here's some spare swans back here. Alright, but we're out of the amusement park. Heading behind that to the jetty. Looking for a boat to take us across the lake. There's a boat right there. Let's take a look around. Anything else for us to look at before we go? Yeah, well, yeah, we can call the Toluca Conservation Police Department for emergencies, theft, and fishing regulations. I want to know about the fishing regulations around here.
There are no
officers to take your call right now. The Silent Hill Conservation Police is dedicated to enforcing laws and regulations that regulate the activities of sportsmen and women who participate in outdoor recreation. The future of our natural resources and habitats is in the balance, and we will enforce the law fully to protect them.
They will use all lethal force necessary. Do not test them. We can take a look at the end of this dock, but nothing here for us. So only one thing to do, and that's check out this boat that's hanging out here at the jetty. The Orpheus. Silent Hill 1 did have a boat. You could never actually use it. It wasn't functional. But the Orpheus seems functional.
Harry Mason, you're late.
For what?
Your party. I started without you, so you're playing catch-up.
What is this place?
It's a boat. It's like a car, but goes on water. We float this baby out into the middle of the lake, and we can do whatever we like. No one to tell us what to do.
I need to get to the lighthouse.
Well, it can do that too. For a price.
My daughter is there. I need to be there.
Harry, always with the weight of the world on his shoulders. I remember when you were a fun-loving guy.
We're talking about my daughter, damn it!
Okay. We'll be at the Lighthouse in about 20 minutes. It's a slow boat.
You know what's happening to me.
I know a lot of things.
You don't know the half of it. I've seen you die. I've seen a woman with the same name twice your age. She said she was my wife. Every step I take, Cheryl gets further away.
But now she's at the Lighthouse. Nowhere else to go.
Who are you, Dahlia?
I already told you. I'm the lay of your life. Your salvation and your curse. I taste sweet, don't I?
Nom nom. Nom nom. Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. Wow, it's a good thing that didn't happen when we were in the middle of things. Probably would not have been good for either one of us. All right. Another nightmare. This time out on the lake. Let's take a look at where we are. Oh no, not the camera. We're not far away. Just a straight line there. And the water is turned to ice. Boat's not going anywhere, but Harry can go. Towards the light. Where else could we go? Hey, Dahlia.
Harry! Turn back!
I can't. It's too late now.
For our daughter's sake!
We've been trying to get to the lighthouse all this time. Gonna say that we're not gonna go now? We're almost there. We can't just stop going. Now that we're at the end. Hey, what's Cybil up to? This your cute 7-year-old? Well, doesn't seem especially 7 in this picture. Also, our phone battery is continuing to go down. I mean, the phone battery has lasted quite a while throughout the adventure. It's only half empty. Look, I'm sure everything will get explained once we reach the lighthouse. But of course, the raw shocks are here. They have not been able to stop Harry yet. But it is a long distance, and there are many raw shocks. We're limping. Maybe in the end, Harry just wasn't able to make it. The nightmare ends, but that means that we're now in water. Swim for our lives. Use motion controls to swim. Oh, we're almost there. The lighthouse can be seen in the distance. Whip the remote and the nunchuck forward and back. I could also press B to look down. Feel Harry's desperation through the physical exertion of whipping your controllers to make it to the shore, to make it to the lighthouse. His daughter's right there. She has to be. There's also more statues. There's Harry in the car accident. He's come all this way. He can't give up now. He has to know the truth. Is Cheryl a 7-year-old girl, or is she in her early 20s and possibly gone to jail for murder? Is that whole thing with the mall security guard? You remember that? Oh, I'm almost at the shore. You can see a building in front of us. Oh, but he's slowing down. Pace is slowing down. He's just slapping the water, trying as hard as he can to reach the ground. But his body gives out right before he gets there.
stopping me?
I'm not here to stop you. I didn't have to fish you out of the water, did I?
Stop talking! You can't talk me out of this!
I'm not here to stop you. I pulled your file at the station. I told you that, right? If you're telling the truth, this doesn't make sense. But I think you are telling the truth. I believe you think you're Harry Mason. Hell, I believe you are Harry Mason. But Harry Mason was killed in a car crash 18 years ago. You want answers? I guess they're waiting in there.
That's the lighthouse?
Nothing's quite what you expect, is it? First thing tomorrow, I'm gonna hand in my badge. I don't think I'm cut out for police work. Not in this town. Good luck.
Thanks.
Well, it looks like Cybil's gonna let the whole thing about Lisa dying go, because you can't arrest a dead man. And Harry Mason's been dead for 18 years. Well, this is the lighthouse, and it turns out it's not actually a lighthouse. Let's look around a bit. I know probably no one would answer, but why don't we go through our contacts one more time? Oh, Dahlia's is ringing.
Harry,
Why? Why should I stop?
trust me.
How can I trust you? I don't know you.
Harry,
I can't trust myself. My mind is rebelling against me. What I see, what I remember, none of it makes sense.
Harry.
When I find Cheryl, everything will make sense.
Everything will make sense. What about Michelle? And Lisa? I mean, that's just going to be her answering machine.
Lisa here. Is that you, Mom? You're the only one who ever leaves messages on this machine. Not that I don't appreciate it or appreciate you buying me the machine in the first place. I mean, maybe next birthday you get me something a little less practical, more, I don't know, exciting? Hey, it's nice we get to talk like this. I'll call you back.
Well, that's it for our phone calls as we arrive at the Lighthouse Clinic. M. Kaufman, M.D. Gone into a different practice than he had in the first game. Here's his car. Yeah, this is reserved for the doctor. All right, we made it to the clinic. Time for our therapy session. And Harry seems like a guy who really needs it. But before we go in, there is one more collectible to get. In the skull of this bust here. It's Harry. Never forget. And I believe we have now gotten all of the collectibles, all of the echoes, all of the ghosts. Pretty sure that's everything. I don't think I missed anything. But regardless of whether or not I did, it's time for therapy.
This is going nowhere. I'm spelling it out, but you're not listening. Your troubled school days? How you're conflicted about marriage? Your denial of death? The unfounded guilt? Abnormal sexuality? 18 years of denial. A whole universe of fantasy in that thick skull of yours. A skull teeming with agents of repression. Blind children clutching photos in the dark. Pale freaks goggle-eyed from watching home movies on loop. term is complicated grief. But it's simple, isn't it? A young girl. Her parents don't get along. She blames herself, as all children do. Then Daddy dies. What's a girl to do? Deny that Daddy died. Deny who Daddy was. What 7-year-old actually knows who their parents are anyway? So she obsesses and obsesses over this fantasy dad propping up her make-believe with scraps of a happy life that never was, scraps of a father who never existed. Wake up! Your dad wasn't a hero. Wasn't your knight in shining armor. He was a human being. You never knew him. And you never will. The dad walking around in your head isn't even a ghost. He never existed. A Frankenstein's monster, a child's fantasy. But you're alive. Your mother is alive. She's not the monster you make her out to be. You need to live your life. Cheryl.
You've been with me for so long.
I always will be.
Be careful.
Sure.
Harry.
We've said enough. Let's just... Sweetie, don't film this. You know this has nothing to do with you, right? Even though Mom and Dad don't love each other anymore, we both love you. And we always will. Come on.
All right, time to see our profile.
Time flows, nobody knows. The years go by. Where we go alone from here. Night falls, strange color walls. My eyes deceive. What is wrong with me? Deep in the night, you think everything's right. Tell it to yourself. Say it's just a nightmare. Something is telling you nothing can change where you are again. Why should it matter? Your dreams of a child, innocence is gone. Only fear to play with. Faces are changing, but nothing is changing the pain. Too late. 2 steps I take, get
Hey, Doc, where did that come from?
and closer. And one more breath I take sends me further back. Ah, over and over it calls to your soul. Say it isn't so. Emptiness surrounds you. No one can help if the angels refuse to come here. Who's there? Cold faded photos, they lay by your side. Something in my room, never mind the reason. Visions are lying and reasons just live to survive. This time,
A little hint there about maybe you should play the game again. Maybe there's different things that could happen.
the fear returning. It's not the eyes. You feel that's chilling.
Well, Mary with a great singing voice as usual. As the credits roll on Shattered Memories, or at least this ending of Shattered Memories. So, we got a profile. Oh, hold on here. Collectibles. All of the collectibles, everything collected in the box. Seal them up. Memories age 7. Don't need these anymore. We're getting over our trauma. Sure, I'll save the game. All right, so the game was really about, of course, Cheryl's childhood, in that, you know, the family life didn't seem too happy. Mom and Dad didn't get along very well. We saw with the day trippers that Cheryl perceived Harry as being the fun one, and I say, is her okay, so, and the mother is being the strict one. I was about to say Dahlia, but the game never actually names the mother, and Dahlia's character in the fantasy, it's kind of hard to tell whether or not it's associating that with Cheryl's mom, because Dahlia does refer to Cheryl as Harry's daughter. I guess maybe the older version of Dahlia might sound, I mean, but then again, the real mother doesn't really look like older Dahlia, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Whereas, of course, Harry just looks like what we would assume Harry looks like. So I'm not entirely sure if real life mom is Dahlia or if that's someone else entirely. But yeah, Dad was fun, Mom was strict. They split up. And then Dad got into a car accident and died. However, Cheryl has a fantasy that Dad didn't die, but that he is a hero, fighting the supernatural monsters, and seems to blame the mom for, you know, the bad things that have happened in her life. And I guess the main thing about the therapy is trying to get over the fantasy dad that she constructed for herself, and to forgive Mom, and that she's not actually the source of the problems in her life. I assume Cheryl got off pretty easy for killing a dude, assuming that part was real. that Cheryl was shoplifting from the mall and that a security guard tried to stop her and she stabbed him to death. I mean, if she's not in jail and she's just going to therapy, it seems like that she got off pretty easy for that one. But yeah, that's or maybe going to the therapy was part of her sentence. Maybe she had to do it because it sounded like that there were other therapists before Dr. K, as Dr. K mentions at the beginning of the game. So maybe Cheryl didn't really want to go there, but maybe it was just legally required that she has to do it because she killed a guy. So basically it's, hey, what if Harry just died in a car accident and all of the supernatural stuff isn't really happening? This is just Cheryl attempting to cope with her unhappy home life and the death of her father. And there we have it. That's Shattered Memories. There are multiple endings. Now, the endings have two parts. One is the therapy part where Harry walks in, and the other is the VHS tape. So, the endings I got, I think are probably the easiest ones to get, the ones that you probably will most likely get. They're basically the good father endings, where one, Harry goes to Cheryl and says that he'll always be with her, and then Cheryl shakes her head no, because she has to let go of the memory of Harry if she's going to move on, and then Harry then freezes. Then in the VHS section, we see Harry, this being a recording of the real Harry, years ago, leaving home as he's getting divorced from Mom, and saying that it's not Cheryl's fault. So those two parts are the endings, and like you can kind of mix and match those things, the therapy and the VHS parts. As for why they were getting divorced, why was the home life unhappy, the other endings may shed some light on that, because from what we've seen here, it seems like everything's kind of okay. Why are they getting divorced? And maybe things were not as maybe things were not so good. Because it turns out Cheryl was quite the shutterbug. She liked carrying that little video camera of hers around. And so if we get other endings, we may see other recordings of the Mason home life that maybe weren't so great. But we will see if we can get one of those in a second playthrough. But as far as Shattered Memories goes on the Wii, what do we think about it? Well, I know that when I first thought it, when I first played the game, I was very negative about it for two particular reasons. One, motion controls, which I don't like. I just don't like. I understand why you gotta use the features. That's the big feature of the Wii. You gotta. If you're not doing that, why are you even making a Wii game? Why not just put it on like the PS3 or 360? Gotta use the features. And I just did not like it. I got used to it, but man, my first playthrough of this, I'm like, this is terrible. I hate every part of this. The second part were the nightmares, which now are much easier to do, but the first time through, it's very confusing, disorienting, and really not fun to just rush through this area, constantly getting grabbed by the raw shocks as you don't know where you're going. Once you get a feel of how the levels are laid out and where you go, it becomes a lot easier. But first time through, I was really down on the game. And my impression of it improved playing through it more than once. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I guess it plays okay. I guess it plays okay now. I guess sort of it's a similar thing to when I played Silent Hill 4 a whole bunch of times. I hated it the first time I played it, but then my feelings on it lightened over time. As far as the idea of it being the reimagining of the first game, I feel like it's an interesting idea. I'm not sure how I feel about the premise of nothing in the game actually happened. And it's just Cheryl having a really vivid fantasy as she's talking to Dr. K about how I bet my dad is looking for me right now. my dad is running through Silent Hill and avoiding raw shocks to get to me here right now. I've never really been a fan of a type of story where it turns out that nothing's real. As far as it goes, this does it okay, but it's just a style of story I'm not really into to begin with. But I mean, I think that the performances are all right. The ending where Harry walks into the therapist's office is done pretty well. I'm not really sure what certain things represent, though. Like meeting Lisa and then Lisa immediately dying. I don't know what part of Cheryl's psyche that represents. But yeah, interesting idea to take the basic premise of Silent Hill 1. Oh no, connections with the Wii Remote have been interrupted. Now, this is a nightmare in itself. Taking the basic premise of Silent Hill 1, you know the premise. Harry Mason crashes his car, loses his daughter. You know these characters. And just, taking that basic premise and doing something completely different with it. As it turns out that what you're experiencing is basically a fractured fantasy by someone who wasn't there for those events. The events never happened. Making up the events as she's trying to come up with a reason for why her dad didn't really die. I feel like not everything really fits in one-to-one, like Lisa or what was Michelle's? I mean, I guess Michelle's thing was that she was looking for John and then they break up, and maybe that's sort of a thing that's on Cheryl's mind because their parents broke up. Maybe it's something like that. Overall, the experience of Shattered Memories is, I think, a bit confusing. But, there's something there. There's an emotional core there. And hey, the therapist, I mean, as far as this game goes, I guess it really hasn't had that much of a lasting impact on future video games there weren't many future Silent Hill games. But hey, the therapist, of course, his legacy lasts, considering he was obviously the inspiration for the psychiatrist in Until Dawn, which was the inspiration for the curator from our favorite series of games, the Dark Pictures Anthology. So hey, without Dr. Kaufman, we would not have the curator. So I mean, it all leads somewhere. It all leads somewhere, doesn't it? But of course, the thing about Shattered Memories, and one reason that it is such a short game, is you're meant to play it a bunch of times, because little things can change. Like, say, how people are dressed, or how they act, or how the voice acting is on certain phone calls, the attitudes people have, and endings that we can get. There can be differences. Some slight, some a little bit more. So it's a pretty short game, but you're supposed to play it more than once, and we will play it more than once. Not on the Wii, because this game was released on multiple systems. It was released on the Wii, it was released on the PS2, and on the PlayStation Portable. So for our second playthrough of Shattered Memories, we will be playing the PSP version, as I attempt to get as horny as possible. Just a completely filthy Harry Mason, and we'll see how that goes on the PlayStation Portable. So that's it for the Wii version of the game, and the second playthrough probably will be much faster, because it really is quite short if you're not looking at everything and making all the phone calls. We will see as we take a break and return back to Shattered Memories.